So can you tell me the story of how School of Toy began?
The story of School of Toy.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
I would love to hear.
It all began with thumb wrestling. You know about thumb wrestling?
Oh, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, I declare a thumb war. 5, 6, 7, 8, try to keep your thumb straight. I was working at a school as a teacher's aide, and I was thinking about getting into teaching. Wasn't sure that it was for me. I definitely didn't know how I was going to afford grad school. A kid came up to me, a 6-year-old kid, strapping 6-year-old, comes kind of ambling up to me, and he says, "You want to thumb wrestle?" And I took him up on his challenge. I figured I might have a chance against him. And while we were engaged in thumb wrestling, it was at that moment that I had one of those light bulb experiences, right? You know, the proverbial aha.
Oh, yeah.
And it went something like this. Pro wrestling plus thumb wrestling equals pro thumb wrestling.
There you go.
And I went home and I prototyped my first invention. I have it right here. This is the version 1.0 of professional thumb wrestling. It's just made out of scraps of wood and rubber bands and nuts and bolts and all kinds of scroungy material. I went on to start making them by hand and selling them to a local store, who in turn sold them nationally to distributors all over the country. It was a little bit like that I Love Lucy episode where they couldn't keep up with all the chocolate they had to be making in the chocolate factory. By the end of the year, I had made enough handmade pro thumb wrestling toys to put myself through grad school. That led me to learn about patenting toys and licensing them to companies while I was becoming a teacher as well. And over the years, those two careers seemed to sort of mesh and merge to the point where I was asked to teach an after-school program for an arts organization. So I collected some scraps, some nuts and bolts and some wooden rulers and some ice cream spoons and rubber bands and gathered the group. It was 8 kids to begin with. And I showed the kids how to put these everyday materials together to create some simple toys. Talk about light bulbs going off. It was just magical. Something about the combination of kids and toys, creativity and learning, really set off sparks. The kids were so excited and so engaged and so involved, and it was so much fun. I went home and I told my wife, "Don't ever let me stop doing this." And she hasn't. It's been decades now. Things really took off from there. It's the kind of thing where teachers wanted something that was curriculum related, learning focused, but also really, really fun. First with smaller groups, 15, 18, 20, and then with whole teams of 3rd, 4th, 5th graders. Then with 150 families in the gym, and then it kind of got out of hand. I was doing 15 or 20 workshops a week, racing around, cross-state, interstate, hopping on an airplane. Somewhere in there I was on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, Discovery Channel, Smithsonian Institution, Reader's Digest, festivals around the country. And then came COVID. And like everyone, I had to come up with new ways to accommodate the needs of families in lockdown, and then that led me to create videos and kits that kids around the nation could participate in. Today, it's very exciting. Teachers around the country are experimenting with School of Toy workshops. What's thrilling is that now kids everywhere can engage in these kinds of hands-on activities and experience the joy, the learning, and the magic that comes from building your own toys. So that's the story. It all began with a 6-year-old challenging me with thumb wrestling, and here we are today.
Well, thank you for sharing your story.
It's my pleasure.